Hello and welcome to the Tabletop Games blog topic discussion. Choo, my friend. From Shikoku 1889 to 1880 China. If you know me, you'll know that I love economic simulation games. I love trading stocks and shares. It feels great when I buy into someone else's company and ride their success to profit. It feels even better when my own company does well and I can take all the gains for myself, because nobody else believed it would do so well. Add to that my love for playing with toy trains, and you can see why I'm in love with 18xx games. So allow me, if you will, to take you on a journey of trains, tracks, stations and shares. I've previously written about my fascination for economic simulation games. I described how these games activate my brain's reward centers and how I love the bluffing that often is a core part of allowing you to get the most profit and win. It's so enjoyable how you can seemingly make money out of nothing. I adore how you need to try and keep players on your side just long enough so that you can make the most profit before royally screwing them over and leaving them behind. At the same time, you're at risk of being outsmarted yourself by your fellow players. The mix of forming temporary alliances, trying to second guess what everyone else is planning, and being able to get financial gains from doing well is really exciting for me. These are the same reasons why I love Dune, where scheming and plans within plans are what makes the game tick. It explains why Oath and Pax Pamirs 2nd edition have such a great appeal for me. In the games I mentioned so far, it's the players who create the tension and excitement. They decide whether to do their own thing or work together, and when. However, in 18xx, the games themselves have an inbuilt dynamism that players have to deal with, whether they want to or not. There's a lot that players control and decide when to do. What shares they buy and when is their choice. Players can decide to invest in others' corporations or try and become the president of their own. Laying track and placing stations are also optional. However, once one train line is connected to two stops, it is forced to buy a train. Suddenly stock prices start to change. First they go down, but each operating round when income is paid out to shareholders, the price goes up. As more tracks are laid and more stations placed, the train company is strongly encouraged to buy more trains, so more income can be generated. At first, there is no desperate need to follow what other players are doing. The train company can happily run with a single train. However, it won't make much money. In turn, players who own shares in the company won't make much money either. That's fine if that income is still higher than other players. Yet, chances are someone else is making more, so it's time to get another train to catch up. The engine of the game is slowly starting to kick in. The game is in motion while the pace is still quite leisurely. Players start to feel more pressure to keep up. That's when 18xx games add coal to the fire and increase the pressure. As more trains are bought by corporations, older trains start to rust. Suddenly an established company can end up without any trains. Somehow they have to find money to buy a new train, and sometimes it's the owning player who has to contribute from their own cash. It's that built-in dynamism that I think makes 18xx games so exciting. Yet the genre isn't a one-track pony. While you might want to start your foray into 18xx with games such as Shikoku 1889, once you understand the basic principles, you have access to a whole world of games that function the same at the core, but have enough differences and tweaks that create completely different gameplay experiences. Not only can you choose from a huge variety of maps, offering something for pretty much anyone, but each map is basically a variation of the basic 18xx rule set. For example, in 1880 China, you have different types of trains, and there's a phase when the stock market is frozen. In 18 Chesapeake, each round a train is removed from the pool, speeding up when new trains become available and old ones rust. If you want a tiny map, try 18MS. For a genre that was sparked by Francis Tresham's 1829, it is amazing how much variety there is available. In fact, my mind boggles when I look at how many 18xx games are available. I really think there's a perfect map for everyone and for every player count. The possibilities are almost endless. Just look at the list of 18xx games you can play free online at 18xx.games. I know the genre can seem a bit daunting, but it really isn't too hard to get into. I recommend you start with Shikoku 1889 and watch Ambi Valdez's great video to help you learn how to play. You probably won't finish it the first time around, but that's alright. Once you get the hang of it, try 18 Chesapeake, which is surprisingly quick to play. We've been able to play it on 18xx.games in about 2.5 hours, but we didn't rush it. Now, I wonder what you think about the genre of 18xx games. Have you tried any of them yet? Are you put off by their perceived complexity? Or are you just not a fan of economic simulation games? If you have tried an 18xx game, what was it? Do you have a favorite? As always, please share thoughts and experiences on the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games blog topic discussion podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon.
This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my supporters. Royal Patron Sean Newman, Magic Champion John Risley, Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor, Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay, and Shining Lights Jacob Davis, Gavin Jones, Sarah Reed and Richard Simpson.